You sit up in bed and put your feet down, and before you have taken a single step, you feel it. That slow pull across the lower back, that stiffness in the hips that makes the first few steps look like someone twice your age. Your mind is already running through the morning, clear, ready, planning, but the body below the neck seems to be living in a different decade. If you want to understand why your body moves and feels so much older than the person thinking inside it, you will not find the answer in a calcium supplement, and you will not find it in more rest. It is something quieter than that, something tended like a garden that has been allowed to go dry. My name is Ezekiel Campbell. Welcome, my people. Now I want you to hold this. What I have watched across 55 years of this work is that when the mind stays sharp, but the body lags further behind each year, something underneath is pouring fuel on that fire. If you leave it unaddressed, it quietly steals from you. It steals the morning garden walk you have taken for 30 years. It steals your ability to lower yourself into a seat at your granddaughter's first school performance without wondering whether you will get back up. Doctors do not bring this up in a 15-minute appointment because it does not arrive in a prescription form. It is not in the treatment guidelines. But the old people of the Blue Mountains have known it since before I was born. And today the science is working hard to catch up with what they already observed. Stay with me. My name is Ezekiel Campbell. My people call me Papa. For over 55 years I have worked with the plants and the old remedies of the Blue Mountains of Jamaica. Knowledge that passed through my family line from my grandfather to the father before him, and back further than any of us can trace. I did not learn this in a classroom. I learned it standing in the hills above Kingston, watching my grandfather press a dried leaf between his fingers and tell me what the body was asking for. I share it now because these old ways saved too many lives to stay quiet. My grandfather taught me one thing above all others, and it is the foundation of everything I am going to tell you today. Every trouble the body carries, he said, begins in the belly. The gut governs how well we fight illness, how the fires of inflammation rise or stay low, our sleep, our mood, and how the body ages from the inside out. That teaching sat in me for decades before the researchers began confirming it in their papers. It is as true today as it was in those hills. In the 5 generations I can trace, the women and men of our tradition who followed the old ways moved through their 70s and 80s with bodies that matched their minds. An elder in his 90s, still tending his land above Kingston. His mother before him, living past 90, walking upright. They did not become two separate people, a sharp mind pulling a reluctant body through the years. The researchers who have come to communities like ours keep confirming what the old ones already knew. The body that stays in agreement with itself is the one that was cared for at its root. Now, one of the things I am going to share with you today will surprise you. 9 out of 10 folks I speak with are doing something that quietly undoes everything else they are trying to do. The order of what I share matters because each piece builds on the one before it. Stay with me all the way through. The most important practice I carry from the Blue Mountains, the one I return to above all others after 60, I am saving for the end. Before we go further, I want to hear from you directly. Leave a comment below and tell me your age, and tell me this. When was the last morning your body and your mind woke up feeling like the same age? I read every single comment on this channel, and what you share helps me understand what to bring you next. Your voice matters here. In this video, I am going to show you the symptom you have been told is simply aging. That is actually your body sending a deliberate signal. I am going to show you the hidden cause that a routine blood test will not catch. I am going to show you 3 forces quietly feeding the gap between your mind and your body every single day. I am going to show you what my grandfather called the slow fire and why it burns hotter after 60 than it did at 40. And I am going to show you the master recovery practice, the single deepest habit I carry from the Blue Mountains, the one I give to folks who want to close that gap and find their mornings again. Before we begin, a small ask. If you have not yet subscribed, please do that now. It takes 2 seconds and costs nothing. Every subscriber helps this channel reach more folks who need this information. Help me carry these old ways forward. Let us begin with what you are actually feeling, because you deserve to have it named plainly. You rise from your chair after a long afternoon, and your knees send a complaint before they have even straightened. You walk down the stairs in the evening, and something creaks in a way that was not there 5 years ago. Your energy drops around 2 in the afternoon, and no amount of rest seems to move it. You wake in the night more often than you sleep through it. And yet, your mind is still there. You remember, you plan, you think through the morning with the same sharpness you carried at 40. But the body is not keeping up with you. What you are experiencing is your body signaling that something underneath has shifted. That is different from the simple passage of years. Your body is asking you to listen before the gap widens further. Here is what the old tradition understood and what the researchers are now writing about in their papers. The body that moves and aches and tires as though it is older than the mind inside it is a body carrying what I call the slow fire. The medical name for it is chronic low-grade inflammation. Inside every cell, there are tiny signaling compounds called cytokines. When the body faces a genuine threat, these compounds light up and call for help. That is the immune system doing its rightful job, the way a guard dog sounds an alarm when someone crosses the fence. But after 60, the system changes. The guard dog begins barking at nothing, constantly. The cytokines keep signaling even when the threat has passed. And that sustained alarm, day after day, wears the body down from inside. It breaks down the cushioning between joints. It ages connective tissue faster than the calendar should allow. It disturbs the sleep cycle and leaves muscles perpetually braced for a threat that never arrives. Researchers in Italy spent years following older adults through this very process and confirmed what the mountain healers of Jamaica had long observed. The level of inflammation in the body was a stronger predictor of physical decline than how many years a person had lived. My grandfather would have nodded at that paper and said, "Yes, I know this. I have known this since before you were born." After 60, the body's natural ability to clear inflammation slows down. Think of a drain that once ran freely and now moves sluggish. The slow fire builds, and the mind, sitting behind the eyes and planning the day, does not always feel that fire the way the joints and muscles do. That is why the gap opens. The mind is still present. The body is burning too hot underneath. There are 3 forces that feed this slow fire, and I want to name each one plainly. The first is what I call cortisol creep. After 60, the system that turns cortisol on and off loses its precision. The body holds onto this stress hormone longer than it once did. Sustained cortisol acts on connective tissue the way salt acts on a fresh wound. It wears down joint cushioning, tightens the fascia around every muscle, and holds the immune system in that state of low alarm I just described. When you stiffen and ache through the afternoon with nothing obvious to blame, cortisol creep is often the cause. Dorothy was 71 years old, a retired school teacher from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. She came to me describing what she called a decade of mornings she would rather skip. Her knees woke her before her alarm did. Her doctor said this was to be expected. What was being overlooked was a sustained cortisol pattern her body had been holding since her husband passed 4 years earlier. She called it her new normal, never naming it as stress. We began working with her gut terrain and a few of the practices I will share today. By week 10, Dorothy told me her morning pain had eased by close to 60%. She said, "Papa, I forgot what it felt like to want to go outside." She was walking her neighborhood in the mornings again. The second force is silent dehydration. After 60, the body's thirst signals grow quieter. Many folks move through their days mildly dehydrated without feeling thirsty at all. A dehydrated cell cannot move waste or nutrients efficiently. The slow fire burns hotter in a dry body. The third force is gut terrain collapse. This is where every old remedy I know points first. and where the modern research has been catching up the fastest. Research suggests that by the time most people reach 70, they have lost a significant portion of the microbial diversity they carried at 30. These are the bacteria that regulate inflammation, produce compounds that support sleep and mood, and help the immune system tell friend from enemy. Now here is what the old tradition knew before any laboratory confirmed it. Probiotic bacteria alone cannot restore this work. The bacteria need prebiotic fiber to survive on, and they need the healing compounds they produce when properly fed, what researchers now call postbiotics, to restore the terrain. Think of it as a garden. The seeds are the probiotics. The soil is the prebiotic fiber. The fruit that feeds the household is the postbiotic. Plant seeds in depleted soil, and nothing takes root. After 60, all three parts of that gut garden have been eroded. A probiotic supplement standing alone is a seed dropped onto cracked concrete. The tradition I was given has answers. The first practice in the recovery protocol begins with a tea. Soursop leaves, dried and brewed slow. The compounds in soursop leaf quiet the same cytokine signaling pathway I described. The alarm that runs too long. 2 cups a day, brewed for 8 to 10 minutes. One before breakfast and one in the early afternoon when the energy wall arrives. There is something grounding in the smell of that leaf releasing into hot water, that thin earthy green scent rising from the cup, that connects back through generations of this practice. The second layer addresses cortisol creep directly. Before bed, a warm cup of water with half a teaspoon of raw ginger and a small squeeze of lime. The tradition does not need to be dramatic. The small steady practice offered every day carries a body further than any single heroic effort. Let me pause here for a moment, my people, because many of the folks I hear from have been asking what I personally use to support the gut terrain we have been talking about. The three-part foundation of probiotics, prebiotic fiber, and postbiotics working together. What I have landed on is BoochBod. It is a kombucha gummy, berry flavor, not a capsule, and I know many of you appreciate that difference. It contains 2 clinically studied strains, lactospore and postbiotics LM1004. Together with the prebiotic fiber, those strains need to do their work. And plants I know from the old island medicine, dandelion root and slippery elm, roots gathered in these very hills for generations. Over 30,000 people are already using it. You will find the description link below. And please, speak to your doctor before starting any supplement. And now we arrive at the most important part of everything I have shared with you today, the master practice. The one I carry above all others. The tradition calls it the morning greeting. It happens before any food, before water, before you have fully risen from the bed. It is the practice of waking the body's drainage before the day's demands arrive. Here is what is happening while you sleep. The lymphatic system, the body's main network for clearing cellular waste and coordinating immune function, slows dramatically during rest. It moves when you move. After a full night's sleep, every bit of waste your cells produced through the night is sitting still, waiting to be cleared. In an older body, this clearance has grown slower. If you rise and go directly into the morning without moving the limb first, you are beginning every day already carrying what yesterday left behind. The morning greeting begins while you are still lying flat. Bring both knees slowly toward the chest 10 times. Then trace slow circles with each ankle, 10 rotations each direction. Then sit up gently and roll the shoulders back and forward 10 times. 3 minutes, nothing more. What it does is activate the lymphatic flow before anything else enters your body, moving what needs moving before the slow fire can settle further into the joints. From the bed, go directly to a full glass of warm water, not cold, warm. Add a small pinch of sea salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. The warmth carries moisture to cells dry from the night. The sea salt restores the minerals the gut lining needs. And the turmeric carries curcumin, a compound the healers of Jamaica, of India, of West Africa, all arrived at separately, because the Creator placed the same medicine in more than one piece of ground. What one tradition found in the mountain soil, another discovered in the valley garden. If you are managing a chronic condition, such as diabetes or taking blood thinners, please speak with your doctor before changing your daily practices. These remedies work gently, but they work with the body, and that deserves your doctor's awareness. Harold was 74 years old, a retired postal carrier from Flagstaff, Arizona. Harold told me his mornings had become something he endured rather than began. 20 years of walking delivery routes had left his hips stiff by 6 in the morning, and his energy fell sharply by 11. What was being overlooked was that Harold had not changed a single morning habit in 30 years, and the body he was waking in was not the body those habits were built for. We worked the morning greeting into his routine and added the soursop and turmeric protocol alongside it. By month 2, Harold completed his morning walk without stopping to rest for the first time in years. His fasting glucose had dropped by 17% at his next checkup. He said to me, "Papa, I feel like I found the man I was looking for." After 55 years of watching what actually works in this tradition, I want to leave you with 3 principles the old ones passed down. Tip 1. Always take your turmeric with a source of fat. A small spoon of coconut oil stirred into the warm water, or turmeric in warm coconut milk, increases the body's ability to receive curcumin significantly. Without fat present, much of it passes through before the cells can absorb what they need. Tip 2. Regularity is the medicine, not quantity. 3 minutes every morning, delivered without fail, carries a body further than an hour of effort on a Saturday. There is a saying in the hills, patience is a plant. You water it every morning, and one day it has grown past your knee without you noticing. Tip 3. When you can, pair ginger with your turmeric. The healers of multiple traditions noticed this long before any university measured it. Ginger increases how well the body receives the compounds in turmeric. These 2 plants call to each other across the medicine chest. 3 mistakes I see again and again, and each one quietly unravels the work. Mistake 1. Taking a probiotic supplement while continuing the same eating patterns. Probiotics arrive and find no prebiotic fiber to survive on. The supplement aisle has made a great deal of money selling seeds without soil, and many folks try for months and feel nothing because the terrain was never prepared to receive them. Mistake 2. Drinking most of the day's water late in the day because the morning was too busy. The cells that need hydration most urgently do their clearing work in the first half of the day. Spread your water evenly from morning through early evening. Mistake 3. Resting through pain and stiffness because it feels like mercy. The lymphatic system and the joints both require movement to stay clear. Even 10 gentle minutes of walking keeps the drain running. Rest without movement feeds the slow fire we are trying to cool. My people, I have watched this in 55 years, and I want to say it plainly before we close. The body at 70 and 75 and 80 has a capacity to shift that we do not give it credit for. It is never too late. Hold 2 pictures in your mind. The first is the morning when you rise from the bed without bracing for it, when your knees simply carry you forward without asking for permission first. The second is the afternoon when your grandchild asks you to get down on the floor and build something together, and you lower yourself down without thinking twice about whether you will get back up. This is not about your diet. This is about the quality of your days and the presence you can offer the people who love you. You are the keeper of this body. Let me lock this in for you. Here is what we covered today. 1. The gap between how young your mind feels and how old your body moves is your body signaling that something underneath has shifted and asking you to address it. 2. The hidden cause is chronic low-grade inflammation, the slow fire, which burns hotter after 60 and drives physical decline beyond what the calendar alone should allow. 3. 3 forces feed that fire. Cortisol creep wears down joint tissue through stress hormones held too long in the blood. Silent dehydration slows the cellular clearing that keeps inflammation low. Gut terrain collapse removes the body's own system for managing inflammation from the inside. 4. The tradition offers a direct response to each force. Soap leaf tea quiets the inflammatory signaling pathway. Warm ginger and lime before bed works with the cortisol pattern. Steady daily hydration spread through the morning supports the cellular work that must happen early. 5. The master practice is the morning greeting. 3 minutes of movement before the feet touch the floor, followed by warm water with sea salt and turmeric, waking the lymph and feeding the gut lining before the demands of the day begin. If this helped you today, please subscribe. This channel carries the old ways to the people who need them, and every subscriber helps that reach grow. Share this with someone you love, your oldest friend, your brother or sister who has been saying the same thing about their body for years and has not yet found an answer. Leave me a comment and tell me which practice from today you are going to try first. I read every single comment on this channel, every single one. For those of you who want to support the gut terrain we discussed today, the BoochBod link is in the description whenever you are ready. My name is Papa Campbell. The Creator gave us the plants. The old ones taught us to listen. I will see you in the next one, my people. Stay rooted.